The first round of the NBA playoffs officially wrapped up yesterday as the final series between the Dallas Mavericks and Los Angeles Clippers, which was also without a doubt the most exciting series, concluded with the Clippers pulling off the comeback after starting the series down 2-0. So the Clippers avoided disaster and continue on their journey, while the Mavericks are finished for the season, and between now and the start of next season, they definitely have a lot of questions they need to answer. The most glaring and obvious question that needs answering is how will the team surround Luka Doncic with the appropriate support in order to contend, because despite being just 22 years old, he has made it clear as day that he's ready for the moment and can perform at a truly elite level on the big stage. The problem, however, is that the player they brought in and planned to have be his co-star for the considerable future, being Kristaps Porzingis, isn't looking like that kind of player at all, and he and his contract are kind of restricting a lot of their possibilities. For today's video, we'll be discussing the whole situation with Kristaps Porzingis, what the Mavericks' options are for roster construction, and whether or not they can make some big splashes to get Luka a proper co-star. Before we start though, it turns out about 62% of you watching right now aren't even subscribed to the channel, so please, if you enjoy the content, consider hitting the subscribe button, as not only does it help out a ton, but I would also very much appreciate it. Now with that being said, let's begin. So, as I said in the intro, Luka Doncic is emerging incredibly quickly as one of the premier players the NBA has to offer. He already ranks 20th all-time in playoff 40-point games, and he's only played in 2 playoff series so far, which sounds equally as absurd as it is. He can score in so many different ways. He doesn't shy away from the moment, and he sets up those around him, as well as any playmaker in the league does. But at the end of the day, one man can only do so much, and winning in the NBA takes an entire team effort to make deep runs. You could tell that Luka was getting tired at the end of a few games, and his gas tank was starting to hit empty after carrying such a big part of the load for so long, and you can't really blame him, but you can blame the organization for not doing enough to surround him with guys that can take some of that weight off of his shoulders. This is why the team's entire focus this summer has to be on getting Luka a true Robin to his Batman. Solo acts in the NBA have failed time and time again, and it's not until most players team up with another star player that the team typically starts to compete for real. To give the Mavericks some credit, they fully knew this 2 years ago and actually did go out and make a trade with this thought process in mind, as they acquired Kristaps Porzingis in 2019. Porzingis was an emerging star for the New York Knicks at the time, who was nicknamed the Unicorn because of the fact that at 7 foot 3 inches tall, he was a knockdown shooter from the perimeter and was becoming a multi-dimensional scoring threat both inside and outside. He was named an All-Star in his final season with the Knicks, where he scored about 23 points per game and shot 40% from 3 on the year, and his unique offensive production, combined with being a strong defensive presence at the time, is what intrigued the Mavericks as a potential perfect partner. However, Porzingis tore his ACL in that final year in New York, so when the Mavericks traded for him, he was still recovering from that serious knee injury, and while some players bounce back and regain their prior form quickly after an ACL tear, others never make it back to being the player that they were before it happened, and unfortunately, Porzingis falls into the second category. The strange part is that to the casual observer, you wouldn't even know that Porzingis falls into this category because on paper, each of his last 2 seasons have looked fairly good, averaging over 20 points per game each year, and this year shooting the ball very efficiently. However, when you dive deeper into the Mavericks season, you start to notice some things that can be frustrating for fans of the team. For one, his once intimidating interior defense is a thing of the past, and his overall mobility since the ACL tear has definitely regressed because of it. In the series against the Clippers, the players on the Clippers were regularly getting whatever they wanted at the basket with very little resistance, and it was because of this that the team was forced to give Boban Marjanovic more minutes just to stop the non-stop layup line that the Clippers were running on them. On top of that, Porzingis had just one game scoring 20 points in this series, compared to 3 games this series scoring in single digits. That's not what a co-star does, that's what a streaky role player does. In each game, he lacks aggression and assertiveness, he settles for bad shots on the perimeter, and when he goes inside to try to use his 7-foot 3-inch height to his advantage in the post, his lack of strength held him back from actually dominating down there. It was just a bad showing all around for Porzingis this series, and now there are plenty of rumors swirling. The rumors didn't just start up after they lost the series though, because there were some warning signs a few months ago when owner Mark Cuban said that Doncic and Porzingis weren't exactly very close, and that there have been a few dust-ups between them. Then things escalated in the post-Game 7 press conference where Porzingis said, and I quote, "Whatever I do, it seems like it's always something. I just try to be as professional as I can." He's clearly frustrated with his role on the team, but at the same time, he hasn't proven he deserves a bigger role based on his subpar play, so it's just a bad fit all around. The Mavericks have a decent amount of cap space this offseason that they can try to use to lure in some reinforcements with, but Porzingis and his massive $32 million cap hit stick out like a sore thumb on their payroll. It seems very likely at this point that the team will shop Porzingis on the trade market. Again, the problem is that Porzingis' contract, combined with his recent production, is going to make a trade for a true star difficult. With the Portland Trail Blazers possibly looking to shake things up, CJ McCollum might be a long shot, and the Celtics definitely will be looking to shop Kemba Walker, but he's clearly on the downside of his career too, and other trade options will require a lot more in a package. Then in free agency, the Mavericks could have enough to offer a player a max contract if Josh Richardson opts out, but if he opts into his player option, then they'll only have about $25 million to spend, which is good money, but not max money. It's probably better that way too, because Kawhi Leonard is really the only big name that could be had in this offseason if the Clippers do end up coming up short, so there isn't a huge need for cash to spend on this class because there's just not that many big names available. Some free agents that are available though, and could immediately help, include players like Norman Powell, DeMar DeRozan, Kyle Lowry, and Mike Conley, with the last 3 players bringing plenty of playoff experience in big games and would take a ton of pressure off of Luka to create. No, there isn't one clear solution that will get them a superstar to pair with Luka immediately, but there are ways they can improve the team from this season to next. The Porzingis situation is one to monitor for sure, free agency should be active, and the team will be very busy, but they will need to do something, because Luka is ready to go as far as possible, as soon as possible. And with that being said, that's all I have for you today. Make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and comment down below what you think about the Mavericks and their future. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you all next time.